All right, so I can see majority can see my screen. So let's get started with today's session. And today, as I was probably checking on what I should share this evening, this word quantum leap came back to my mind again. And I decided to say something about it once again. Because just like I always say, if you really want to do well in network marketing or in life, then it is not an easy thing. It is not something that majority of guys are going to do. In fact, if you are going to really make it big in our business, then you have no other choice but to join the uh, top 3%. Let me rate it at that. Some people would say top 5, top 3, top 1. Let me just use top 3. You must join the top 3% of the entire industry. And these are the guys that really hit it big. These are the guys that break the bank. These are the guys that make hundreds of millions of Kenya shillings to billions. And we have seen such kind of stories being shared before. And I think many of you have also heard that slow but sure, never wins the race in network marketing. And at one point or the other, you just have to work on, growing your income so much to a point that you can now afford the good things of life. For instance, if we looked at probably the dream car that many of you guys want to drive, I don't know which car you would love to drive. Let me use a car. Okay, let me not use the car. Let me use a house because one way or the other, we must live somewhere. You might not need a car, but you must live somewhere. And I believe one day each and every one of us would want to have a home of their own. So how much do you think your home would cost? Please type for me the amount in Kenya shillings or in dollars if you are in South Sudan. How much is the dream house that you want going to cost you? Let me see on the chat box. How much? Alex is saying 20 million. Sheila is saying 30, is it? No, 10. Then I have 606, 80K, DO 30 million, 5 billion Kenya shillings. Which one is this? How does it look? Wow. 1.1 million US dollars. 2 million, is that Kenya shillings or US dollars? 70,000, okay. 1 million US dollars. Now, the figures you guys are talking about are not figures that are small. I don't know if you realize that, if you are going to make 500,000 Kenya shillings every single month, then at the end of the year, you only have 6 million. Probably just a few of you can build a house at that point. If you are making 500,000 per month, if I look at some of the houses you are talking about, if you want them in a short period of time, like 5 years, you have no otherwise but to raise your income to a level, where you are making so much money. So in this training, I really want us to align our mindsets to a point where you have no choice but to make that money. And I think that is where majority of us are lacking. You've not gotten to a point where you really need to scale from zero, because I know there are people who are making zero. You need to move from zero to 100K or 50K or whichever amount. Some of you need to move from 50K to 200K to 300K, to 500K, you 10 times your income or thereabout. And at the moment you get to a point whereby your mind agrees, your mind accepts that this is the new normal, then these things have to happen in reality. So that is what we want to look at today, quantum leap. As it was described in our previous training, we said It is the ability to increase, the amount of money you are making several times, something that is not normal. You increase it abnormally to a certain level that, majority of guys won't believe you actually did it. So if you're making 100K, you probably take it to 1 million, within a short period of time. And it should not just be a dream, it should be something that we aim to go and achieve. And I hope the training of today is going to get us closer to that. So we say achieving quantum leap in income in network marketing means breaking out of slow linear growth and experiencing rapid exponential income gains. That is what I've been talking about. All of a sudden, you are growing so fast, people are wondering, what is this guy doing? And for this to happen, there are several things that have to align. And the reason why, some of you would ask me, if it was that easy, to grow the income, why is it that some of us are stuck? Why is it that some people they get to a certain level and, they cannot move anymore? Or they get there, then they start backtracking to an income lower than the highest they have ever made. It is because there are a lot of things that are involved. And if you can align all of them together, it now becomes easy for you to make the kind of money that you want to make. So I'm going to look at each and every one of them today. Be very keen, have your notebook and pen, take down a few notes, but I want you to listen more. Therefore, screenshots would make it easier for you. So the first thing you need is mindset. You need the right mindset. And as I was saying, the hardest part of it is convincing yourself that you can actually make it. Making 500,000 is not hard. Making 300K is not hard, but some of us in this room, when you hear the sound of that amount of money, you feel scared. It scares you. And if that happens, then definitely it means it cannot come at that time. So we have to develop in mind until we get to a point where we feel if we don't do it, then something is wrong. There must have been a mistake somewhere. The amount of work you are doing, the amount of belief you already have should be able to be getting you that kind of money. The second thing that you'll need is skill set. Developing the right mindset alone is not enough. You must also have adequate skills. You must also have adequate skills that can enable you to make the kind of money that probably you are looking forward to make. Then the third thing, and skills, we've talked about them the last few weeks. I think we should be at par when it comes to that, but I'll touch on it a little bit later. Then, of course, we have the systems. Again, for you to grow at a very fast speed, the business needs to be out of you. Like, if you're not there, the business should be able to continue normally. And the only thing that makes that possible is if we have systems. If we have systems, it does not matter whether you are there or not, the business is still going to proceed. And that is why, as a team, we have been developing, a lot of systems over time for prospecting, for bringing new guys on board, for inviting, for follow-up, for presenting. So all these systems that we have, you must find a way of using them to your advantage. In fact, every system that we have in the team, if you can make good use of them, you'll really grow very, very fast. And last but not least, the hardest part of it all is action. A lot of us, we talk big, a lot of us, we have big plans, but when it comes to the doing part, that is where we probably fail to do it right. So action must also come in, and we are going to see the kind of work that needs to be done, for us to have that income leap, or what we call the quantum leap. So let's start from the first one, mindset. And on the part of mindset, I want us to listen to this particular video. I want us to listen to this particular video of one of my mentors. This gentleman has been able to build a multi-million-dollar business over the past about 20-something years, you know. So he's been in the industry long enough. He knows what needs to be done. He knows what you can do to get there. And from his experience, he's saying something about majorly the mindset. And I want you to get it. I want you to get what he's talking about when it comes to your mindset, or the mindset you need to actually unlock what we call the quantum leap. So let's listen to him.
Hey, it's Matt Morris at mattmorris.com. I am in Uganda, actually at the Serena Hotel. If you ever come to Kampala, stay at the Serena. Super cool place. Got walking trails here, just super beautiful. And thought I'd share a quick message. So flew in. Took like 36 hours to fly over here, and doing blitz events. Got here, immediately did an event, slept up at 5 a.m. Members only training in the morning, presentation. We'll do probably 2 more tonight, 3 or 4 meetings tomorrow, 3 or 4 meetings the next day, and then I'll fly out. So I should probably do a training at some point on how to do a proper blitz and network marketing. But I thought I'd just talk about, you know, something that, you know, just kind of hit me today. Someone that was like shocked that they had met me because they had heard of me as a speaker and an author, network marketing and so forth. So, you know, question is, how do you go from the bottom 1% in network marketing to the top 1% in network marketing? And, you know, when I got started, I definitely felt like I was the bottom 1%. You know, I was as bad as anyone could be. I, you know, basically paid for a couple people to join my first couple years in network marketing. Other than that, I had no success. I was, you know, bottom 1%. So how did I get to the top 1%? How does that happen? Well, a couple things. Number one is you've got to be not so hard on yourself. I'm gonna have a seat with you guys. So number one, don't be so hard on yourself, and realize that the bottom 1%, even if you sponsored no one, you're not really in the bottom 1%. You're probably in like the bottom, you know, 50% or, you know, 30%, because most people get into network marketing and before they have any success, they quit. So you should really be proud of yourself. If you've been in network marketing, even if you haven't had a lot of success and you've been doing it for a year or two, be proud of yourself that you haven't given up. So that's number one, is you're not really in the bottom 1%. But how do you make it to the top 1%? Well, one, you know, if you've stuck it out for a year or two, you've got what it takes to make it to the top 1%, because this is definitely a business where it's a marathon, not a sprint. So long-term consistency will always trump short-term intensity. So it's not about the short-term intensity. Yes, there's times where you want to blitz. You want to take a 90-day time of your life, maybe even once a year, put your head down and run hard. That's one of the best strategies there is, but you can't only rely on that short-term intensity. It's a long-term game here. So what I think the biggest factor that's going to get you to the top 1%, I think it's the biggest, is you believing that you have what it takes to reach the top. And even if you don't believe you have the skill sets right now, you have to at least believe that you can get the skill sets to be in the top 1%. So everything is a mindset. You know, people are always like, man, how do you handle jet lag? How do you get off the plane after 36 hours of traveling and do an event and, you know, go the next morning and do another event, and, you know, you work like crazy for 3 or 4 days? How do you do it? How do you not like just kill yourself? Well, it's a mindset. I tell myself, actually, I don't believe in jet lag. My body just adapts. You know, I've got my own strategies on that. But it's all mindset. And if you believe you've got what it takes, you've got to have a healthy ego. See, a lot of times you hear a lot of trainers talk about how bad it is to have an ego. I believe it's good to have an ego. just about every top producer I've ever worked with, they've got a big ego. It's okay to have a big ego. It's bad when you have a negative or an unhealthy or a dysfunctional ego, but you should have a healthy ego. You know, your ego is your confidence. It's believing in yourself. It's believing that you're worthy. It's having that internal drive. So don't try and have zero ego. You know, an ego is your, you know, it's how much you value yourself. You know what? I have a big ego. I don't think it's unhealthy, but I value myself a lot. I think you should value yourself a lot. So don't believe in all this crap about you can't have an ego. No, you need to have an ego. What's going to take for you to get to the top 1% is having that ego. It's having that self-worth. And then the only other factor, it's how long are you willing to stay consistent? Are you willing to stick it out? See, I've been doing this for 22 years of my life. I got started at 18. I'm 40 years old now. If you do anything for 22 years of your life, are you going to get good at it? You know, if you played the guitar every day for 22 years, you'd be ridiculously good. Just about anything, if you do it long enough, you're going to get ridiculously good. You're going to learn things like you know the back of your hand. You're going to get so good if you're willing to just stick it out. And see, what most people do is they spend their whole life sticking it out in a job that's never going to give them the hope of being rich. You're never going to have the opportunity for most people with a job. You're not going to be able to have time freedom and money freedom. It just is not available. So the secret of getting wealthy is doing something that at least gives you the hope at least gives you the opportunity of being wealthy. So stick it out for a long time. And it may not take you 20 years. It didn't take me 20 years, but it took me some time. Most leaders that I know of, it took them some time. So be patient with your results. Be impatient with your activity. That's what it takes to reach the top. It's consistent effort over time. And you've got to just continually learn and apply. Learn and apply. Learn and apply. The 10,000 hour rule is in effect. Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, and he looked at the outliers, the people who are the best in the world at their particular profession. And, you know, he mentions people like the Beatles who, you know, they got 10,000 hours in at a very early age because they played a gig every single day. So they got ridiculously good. Why? Because they put the hours in. The people who are ridiculously good in network marketing, they put the hours in. So my friends, if you want to reach the top, it's simple. Go out and learn like crazy. Watch all 300 plus of my videos. Watch them all. Internalize it and go train other people on it. You know what? Go steal my stuff. Go train your team on it. Use it as if it's your own. I don't even care, right? So a lot of the stuff that I train on, it's stuff that I learned from other people 15 years ago. I don't even know who I learned it from, but I've used it so much, I've made it my own. So learn like crazy, apply like crazy, teach like crazy, go through the numbers, have that healthy ego, stick it out over time, and you'll be in that top 1%. So listen, I hope this added some value. If you feel like it can add some value to some others, share it around. Love to hear your comments below. If you want to tag someone in the comments, you can definitely do that. And if you want to get all my training videos, hop over.
All right, so I think that was clear enough. What did you get from that video? Let me get to see if you guys were really attentive or you are just getting surprised. Okay, go crazy with numbers. Someone is saying incredible. What have you learned? Number one thing that this guy has mentioned is that you need to be proud you haven't given up to now. That is a clear sign that you're actually on the right path. You're actually on the path to becoming the top, probably even 1% in network marketing in the whole world. Because if you're going to stay long enough in this industry or anything, the chances of you doing well are great, especially if you are in control, highly discouraged, you working for someone all your life. If you can have something that you have full control over and you give it your time, energy for some time, you'll get there. Number two, I can see a lot of you are talking about consistency, of course. It's not about very high intensity, then you quit. Some of you, after events, after big meetings, you are so excited, you are so energized, you go do it for 1 day, 2 days, then you say this doesn't work. So you quit on that, idea of the week, let me call it that good thing that was there. So for you to get big success, it's all about consistency, guys. That is the mindset we need to have. You'll do it and do it and do it, then one day, boom, you are now getting extremely high amount of signups in a single day. Your bank account is now too big, the balance is too big. You can't understand what is happening. That is how quantum leap happens. It is not something you do 2 months, then boom, you have the big income that is flowing in. It requires consistency. In fact, sometimes even God will have to test you if you're really serious about getting it before it comes. Because some of these big monies we are talking about can scare some of us. Then he talked about belief. You have to believe that you also have what it takes. You have to believe that you can also be a top earner. You can be somebody in the industry, You can be that big shot that, guys will be talking about every other day in their closing, their stories and all that. Then he said as well, even if you don't have the skills right now, let's say you don't know how to do anything, you must have the belief within you that you can go outside there and learn. You can attend the events, you can sign up for courses, you can go on YouTube, learn on your own and get the right amount of skills that you need to help you get there. Then again, it is about how long you are willing to be consistent. I think that I've talked about it. Then finally, he finished by talking about learn, do, train, and teach your team. Repeat that process and repeat it with some amount of craziness. And that is the mindset, guys, that you need as a top earner. He has actually summarized it in a better way than probably I would have put it. So whatever points that have been mentioned, take it and use it in your business. We say your business grows as fast as you do. So you also have to put some effort in building yourself, building your mind, building the person that you are, and definitely you'll grow faster. So think like a top earner. Stop seeing yourself as just a distributor. Start thinking like a 7-figure earner. Start dressing like a 7-figure earner. Start showing up like these people. Sooner or later, as you behave like them, as you work like them, as you show up like them, as you talk like them, you'll also find yourself as one of them. Because some of these things are the ones that attract the big money that we want. So if you know someone who is already making that 500,000, that 7-figure, 1 million plus, you can emulate 1 or 2 things from them, especially their work ethic. I don't want you to emulate many other things. Majorly, the thing that we should be looking up to is the work ethic. How does this guy work? What amount of hours is he putting in? How many people are they signing up? What number of downlines are they having? How are they handling them? That is what you should be copying majorly. Then number 3, make sure you eliminate limits that you've set for yourself in your mind. Majority of us will say we want the big money. But when you go down to your room in the evening at night, before you sleep, you'll probably laugh about those figures you talked about with your mentors. You'll tell yourself that is impossible, that is too high for me now. Let me just maintain my level, let me just maintain my lane. No, these are things that anybody can do, so long as you believe, so long as you are willing to, break the barriers, you can do all these things. And of course, you must dedicate time to daily develop yourself. When we talk about mindset, it is not something that is developed all of a sudden. You cannot read one book and say, now I am ready. Give me the millions, I'm going to make them. You cannot attend one seminar and say, now I am ready, you know. You cannot study one course and say, I am ready. It is a daily thing, so keep on growing. Even those of us who are already doing well, you know, those who are making 6 figures, 7 figures, you know, we still spend a lot of time developing. We still spend time reading books, listening to the audios, repeating affirmations or writing them each and every day. Why? Because there's always a higher level that we guys need to go for. So work on your mindset. You know, most part of the big income comes from the mindset. The number 2, set a bold goal and a deadline. Now, this one is very key because it is only those who dare to dream big that actually achieved big things. If they never tried, they would have not done it. If Martin Luther King never tried to do what he did, we would have not known that probably was such a powerful speaker. So set big goals. Sometimes, you know, when I'll actually recommend this when the year begins. Every single year, set some one goal, you know, that scares you. Tell yourself, this year I want to do this and it's so big, but I will challenge myself and I want to see what will happen. Or just maybe the next 90 days, let me try do this. Let me see what will happen if I set my eyes on this. So you can decide to go for an income goal like $5,000 a month in 90 days. This is not easy, guys. This is not a walk in the park. You know, I've done it before, so I know what I actually went through to get there. But it is a goal that will take you to a whole different level because it is going to demand more from you. It is going to require you to work harder, you know, take care of your team better. It will require you to have more meetings every single day. It will require you to talk to more people, close more people. So once you set the goal, don't just be happy about it. That is not the reason why we are setting it. The reason why we set so high goals is so that we can now look at the amount of activities that needs to be done. For example, someone who wants to make $500,000, maybe right now you're making 60K, 80K, or 50K. You need to probably sign up so many people, and that's why I've put like 10 signups per week. That's no joke, you know, that's roughly 2 per day, but it is doable. It has been done severally by so many people. That means about 30 plus presentations, you know, per week. If your signing ratio is 1 to 3, or it could even be more if your ratio is, you know, lower. So you can break it into smaller goals that you can do on a day-to-day basis and track yourself. There is power in tracking. I've talked about this severally. You know, track what is it that you are doing every single day versus what you plan to do when you came up with that entire plan. Now, personally, anytime I've done something big, you know, I remember the first time I bought this Audi, the white one, and I've told you guys this story. I was challenged by my uplines. You know, there's a guy who bought a Mazda Axela in August. Andrew bought a Paso in September. And Francis Njoroge buys a BMW at the end of September. I think it was October 1. When we were just getting into a game plan, we were just launching a 90 days game plan. So I challenged myself, you know, why not? I'm the next in line. After all, Francis is my immediate upline. So that means I'm the next in line. So I said, liwe liwalo, these 90 days, naanguka na hii. And I actually raised money to buy that car. I remember when Corona was so tough on us, some of you were with us at Kitamu. I also said I'm buying a BMW, and I actually did in 90 days. There was a time I committed myself, you know. I wanted to buy a piece of land. Let me share this with you. So I found the land. Once I found the land, we went, we made an agreement with the guy, the lawyer, I did the search and everything. Then I put a down payment, 1.1 million Kenya shillings. After putting the down payment, we agreed with this guy that I was going to be paying him 600,000 per month. 600,000 per month for 3 months. That is 1.8 million plus the 1.1, we are talking about 2.7 million, right? No, 2.9 million. And I got to work and actually finished, that piece of land within that period. So challenge yourself. This is what it actually takes to raise that income so highly. You must demand something that is bigger. Something that will wake you up in the morning, something that will push you to do more. And that is when you unlock some of these difficult things to do. Then apart from that, you have to master high income skills. What are high income skills in our business? Number one, I usually call them the daily non-negotiables. You cannot negotiate. You cannot tell your upline this one today, let me do it tomorrow. You have to do these things on a day-to-day basis. If you don't do them daily, you're already missing the point. Number one is prospecting. How do you start conversations and invite these guys to come see our business? Number two is presenting. That is explaining our business. We've done a lot of that before. Closing and follow-up, handling objections, closing, and moving them from one exposure to another. We've also done this a lot. And all you need to do if you're not good at this is practice with someone, a mentor. Or today the world has gone digital. You have very good cameras. Record yourself and listen to yourself. Do I make sense? Can someone listen to me and join? And ladies and gentlemen, just like Matt Morris was saying, it takes roughly about 10,000 hours to be a master in anything. How do they pick the pilots who fly the Boeings that are so big, carrying 300 lives? How do they decide this guy can now fly this flight? It is based on the amount of hours you've been flying. If you have 10,000 hours, you are good to go. You can fly any size of plane because the amount of skills is already so high. Now, in our business, if you're going to give it 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, that will translate into 44 weeks a year, which means it is going to take you 5.5 hours. Now, when I was given these statistics by my upline in the first few months when I joined the business, that was when I decided to create more time, because for me, I was not willing to wait 5 years. I wanted this thing earlier. And from my early days, for me, I was giving the business about 16 to 18 hours. And that is why in less than 2 years, I was already making so much money. And you can borrow from that. We can go out and do the job willingly. Let's do the work willingly. And now here I'm talking about 5 days a week. What if you do it 7 days a week? Okay. Monday to Sunday, you are doing something for many hours. Instead of 8 hours, you do 16. Instead of 8 hours, you do 14 or even 18. Any other time when you're not doing something else that will require your mind, you are doing the business. So invest time into your business. Invest a lot of hours so that you can master the skills that matter. And with time, you'll definitely attract the big money, without stress. Number 4, increase your daily exposure rate. Now, this one is the magic now. This is the magic. However good the presentation is, even if it is Dr. Ed who is doing the training, if you don't do the right amount of numbers, guys, you cannot get the results. That I can tell you with a lot of confidence. Everyone has a certain ratio that they must satisfy. If you don't get the results. So we have to increase the number of people we are training. And this past week, I've actually noticed that majority of us, we are just hiding behind the team trainings, you know. You are hiding behind your leader. So you usually have Google Meet, so you just pretend you attend the meetings without guests, you attend without guests. And if you continue doing that, guys, there is no money for you. You know, in network marketing, we say you cannot cheat the grind. If you attempt to cheat the grind, you know, you are dodging. Your upline tells you we need to do this amount for you. You are just dodging. Maybe you don't even know what to do. You are not asking. You are just comfortable, you know. At the end of the day, it will show up in your bank account. When people are giving reports, upline, I got 3 signups this week. I made 33,600. You will be reporting zeros. And worst of all, your bank account will be zero. You know, you'll be having the hard time begging people, oh, assist me with fare, assist me with money for PMA, assist me with this. I've not eaten for 2 days. What kind of stories are those, you know? So don't be somebody who is needy. You know, work for your money. Let's go do the presentations. And people are online. People are waiting for you to share this business with them. We have shown you how to start conversations. Today, we even have masterminds doing the closings for you. Every single day, we have 6 closings. In fact, if you say, I don't know how to train, we have even put one person to do the training for you on your behalf. At exactly 1 p.m., the OPP will be done, and you push that person to the next closing session. You know, at 3 p.m., 5 p.m., 7, or even 9 p.m. And these guys can join the business. So let's not be beggars. Let's not be lazy guys. Let's go and do the right amount of exposures per day. With the kind of technology we have, you don't have to, you know, have physical guests. You can even do some of the trainings online. And the guys you can meet them. The ones you cannot meet them online. You know, we have a lot of support there. Use social media, you know, run weekly webinars. Webinars are like Google Meet or WhatsApp video call for a group. So do all these things that have been mentioned. And according to the law of averages, according to the law of averages, it says if you do a certain thing repeatedly, several times, a ratio will appear. And once the ratio appears, if you follow the same ratio, you'll keep on getting, you know, the same results. And the good thing about the law of averages is that as you keep on doing it, the ratio also improves. You keep on doing it, the ratio improves. If you are a farmer, you have just one piece of land, 1 acre, and another farmer has 50 acres of land. The amount of bags per acre that the person with 50 acres of land will get is actually higher than the amount of bags you'll get with 1 acre. Because the birds will come, but they cannot eat so much. In your 1 acre, they'll eat almost a quarter of it. So as we keep on doing more and more, God also keeps on blessing us more and more. And that is what this picture is showing. So you'll have some failure, some people will cancel on you, another failure, another person cancels, boom, you make a sale. Another sale after that, another sale, you fail, another sale, another one cancels, another sale, another sale, another sale, another fail. So that is how the law of averages works. If you give up after doing 3, 4, 5 presentations, we might not hear about your story. But if you keep on persisting, consistency, you know, doing it again and again, we'll definitely come to hear about your story. Number 5, to unlock Quantum Leap, you have to build and duplicate a simple system. Now, we already have a very simple system which has been shared with you guys. I really won't go into details. So people don't duplicate your personality, they duplicate systems. That's why even when you recruit someone, don't really focus on what you can do. Focus on pushing them into the system. Let me repeat that statement. Focus on pushing new people into the system. Tell them we have this and this and this that is happening every single day, every single week, every single month. This and this and this you must attend. There is no option. Something like cell meeting is a must, you know. Sizzles, a must. Okay, having guests every day, a must. So you need to just show them what is a must, then remove yourself from the picture. If the new member knows that they can only perform if you are around, then you will never unlock the big money. You will never unlock the big money. My strategy for duplication or retention is actually to allow my people to learn what they need to do. You see, what I'm doing, it should not take them more than 1 month before, you know, these guys can do it. Yes, I'll be there to help them, to guide them, but they must grow to that level. And when God created the universe, he made sure that he also created a system. And there's one thing I want you guys to learn from the universe. The planets, the sun, the stars, they say there are millions of them. They never collide. That is a system that God created. Now, we also have a system, you know, all of us are part of the Beyond Survival campaign and the Bonan Vivon project. And we should operate in such a way that the person who joins today, the person who has been here for 3 months, the person who has been here for 1 year, the person who has been here for 5 years, and even us who have been here for 8 years, there is nothing that collides. You know, everything should be moving on smoothly. When something is introduced, you know, we go with it because all these things are there to help us move forward. And they are being brought at the right time. Everything comes at the right time. You know, God is the one who dictates how we move, okay? It is not Ambassador, it is not Ambassador Masigaki, or even the other masterminds. It is God who directs, you know, how we are moving based on the vision that we have. Based on the vision that we created, you know, he just provides. So when we bring something new, it is something that God has provided at that time to help us to do what? Get to the goal that we actually have. So just like the universe, let us not have things colliding, you know. Find a way of having everything moving on smoothly within your team. Whenever we have trips, whenever we have vacations, create time, be there. When we have recognition rally, be there. When we have these big events, be there. When we have small events, be there. Pentagon, when you have something, be there. Projector, when you have something, be there. All these things are there to help us do what? Grow in the business. Number 6, plug into a growth environment. Join or create a team challenge. Use an accountability group chat. Then get mentored by someone who is earning what you want. Get mentored by someone who is earning what you want. So you want 500,000. Who are you listening to? Your fellow who is making 60,000. You will never get there. Very difficult. You have to find someone who is there to show you what they are doing. Listen to them. You know, they said that when success speaks, you don't question, you listen. And that's where a lot of us, we go wrong, you know. Listen. And when you listen, you don't have to do. Your work is to listen. You go, try to find out what this guy was saying. Can I really use it to my advantage? And guys, I want to strengthen the idea of the three-way calls. The last 1 week has been amazing. A lot of conversion, you know. Those who have been inviting, I know you've gotten very good feedback. I personally have a lot of feedback from those sessions. So majority of us, I think, I don't know where the issue is, but probably the issue is in inviting these guys to attend the meeting. So I've categorized 4 people that we should be inviting to our three-way calls. And I want you to listen to what I'm going to say. So the first category are business-minded people, entrepreneurs, professionals, a lawyer, a judge, professor. You've trained these guys and now They're wondering if this is for them. So tell them, hi, John. I know you think like a business person and you probably want to hear from someone with real results before diving deeper. I can get you on a quick 10 to 15 minutes call with one of our top earners, someone who has built a 7-figure income in this business. It will give you a clearer picture from someone who is already doing it big. Should I go ahead and arrange that? So a meeting of that sort with the top earner. Then if the guy says, yes, go ahead, then you tell him or her, my mentor is usually available at 3 p.m. or 9 p.m. So at that time, you've already gauged, probably you want him to meet either at 3 p.m. I think we have Ambassador Mercy. At 9 p.m., I'll be the one conducting that session. So it can be at 9 a.m. My mentor is usually available at 9 a.m. or 7 p.m. So maybe you want to use Ambassador Silole or Ambassador Maina. So you can play with the time. What time do I lock you in? So the guy has to choose between the two. Remember, between him and your mentor, who is the busiest? Your mentor. Then, of course, once they show up for the three-way call, you can do a follow-up later. This is how you can do the follow-up. That perspective from Mr. Silole was golden, right? Imagine what you could do with the same mentorship. Did you secure the mastermind mentorship slot? So that is where the follow-up starts. If they didn't secure, you have to praise this thing again. You have to make them feel there's something that these guys are missing. And if they feel they are missing something, they'll definitely do something about it. People always take action when they fear missing out. People usually take action when, something is at stake. So you have to make it look that big. Please take a screenshot of this as well. I really don't have time before my next call. So these are skeptical prospects. I totally get where you are coming from. It's smart to be skeptical. That's actually why I want you to hear from someone who is living proof this works. One of our top earners is available for a short call. And I'd love you to ask your questions directly. It's no pressure, just clarity. One in, of course, he'll say, okay, you can have me in the call with him or her. Then you continue the same way. My mentor is usually available at this time or this time. What time do I lock you in? So they'll choose the time that they are comfortable with, then do the follow-up in that manner. Take screenshots. That call was helpful, yeah? They'll tell you the reason I wanted you to hear from Dr. Lagat is because they had the same doubts at first. What's your biggest takeaway from that? Then once you talk a little bit, did you secure the mastermind mentorship, by the way? Then you build on it. After the session, you have to keep on building on that mentorship that we are selling during that session. It will be the biggest thing that will get guys on board. For a student, take a screenshot quickly. And then, of course, that is for a student. That is for a student. Then last but not least, if you have family and friends, I also want you to take a screenshot. That is how you'll invite them over to those sessions. Then the last point, you have to automate your business and scale. Automate and scale. Without automation, you cannot scale. Why? As I explained in the previous meeting, the moment you have a big team, and this is the problem we always have, you'll probably ask, why is it that when somebody has a lot of downlines, it also becomes harder for them to recruit. Why? Because you find all their time, this guy has problems, so upline, welcome call, what. So you have to reach a point where you can automate some of these things so that you have free time to do what really matters. And what matters is getting more guys on board. So use tools like the virtual upline. I'm told some of you have a problem signing up with PayPal. If you have a problem, reach out to your mastermind or reach me directly. I'm going to guide you on what you need to do to actually access the platform, or even you're a new member, if they have a challenge, just reach me out. That's my number. Then train leaders under you to run their own presentations. Let them not be relying on you entirely. Let them know how to do it as well. Then lastly, focus on team growth and leadership development. That way you can easily scale this business to bigger numbers, to tremendous numbers. And that is how you can unlock what we call an income leap or a quantum leap. So that was my time, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for creating time. It's now time for the other meeting. Let's put as many people as possible into that closing call. I can feel I have a lot of energy, and we are going to kill it in a short while. Thank you so much. See you soon.